projects and programs, youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs, recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
As Nigeria diversifies its agricultural resources as alternative to crude oil, next week, Tuesday Live shall focus on the National Agricultural Lands Development Authority, NALDA, for food sufficiency and national security. Tuesday Live, every week at 10:30 p.m. It promises to be incisive and educative. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. Some educational communities in Edo, Delta and Ekiti State are beginning to key into the alternative energy invention as their main source of power generation. Obehi Ottawa Presai reports that the alternative energy projects, which are mainly solar powered, are helping to boost socio-economic activities.
Ikoho, Igwoge, and Uhogwa communities are some of the rural areas in Edo State that are yet to be connected to the national grid. Their livelihood depends solely on alternative energy. This 100 kVA hybrid grid in Ukoha is a federal government rural electrification project.
Thank God the light is functioning. The light is a development to the nation and this community.
Now it's better off than that of the olden time when there was no light.
While the solar project sited within the IDP camp in Uhogwa helps to provide water for the over 4,000 IDPs and other members of the community.
With this one now, they can have water with ease using the sun.
If the government is able to site 2 of these, in addition to this, in this center, it will benefit both the IDPs and even the community around.
From the suburbs in Asaba, Austin Edemodo reports that experts are advocating in support of renewable energy facilities to boost small and medium-scale businesses.
You look at the food processing, food storage, all these are businesses that could be set up in rural environments, and with just a little energy that can be transmitted from the sun, those businesses run very smoothly.
While Ayodeji Ogunshaki reports that small business owners in Ekiti, like Ekeke Ejename, are opting for alternative energy due to epileptic powers. The consensus is that renewable energy is the panacea to bridge the electricity gap in Nigeria. In Benin, Obehi Otoba Presai, NTA News.
The first ever 10 megawatts wind farm project in Nigeria is located at Lambar Rimi in Katsina State. Dawuda Mohammed in this report gives us an update on the state of the project.
10 megawatts Katsina wind farm project, which was initiated 16 years ago, consists of 37 wind turbines, each expected to generate 275 kilowatts power. Presently, only 31 out of the 37 wind turbines have been installed, with corresponding accessories supplying 8.25 megawatts of electricity and awaiting inauguration. Sirajo Abubakar, a metal fabricator and repairer in Katsina, is one among several small and medium enterprises owners that depend on electricity to earn a living. Sirajo Abubakar, though unaware of the Lambarimi wind turbine project, attests that power supply has presently improved.
Up to now, Katsina people are waiting for the commissioning of the project.
Recently, we have seen improvement in electricity supply, and we want it to be sustained. This power project, Irimi, when fully operational, will definitely change the narrative of business activities in Katsina State. because we will all benefit.
10 megawatts is big enough. We are all celebrating, but I don't know why it is taking this long.
While the Katsina wind turbine project has not fully taken off, the consensus is that when fully operational, the multiplier effect on the economy of the state will significantly reduce the high rate of unemployment. In Katsina, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Let's return to our conversation with Ahmad Salihijal, Managing Director, Rural Electrification Agency. Now, those two reports we saw harped on the impact of your agency and others alike on schools, particularly tertiary institutions, as well as agriculture. Now, how is that?
And I was happy earlier on in your report when I saw the Usman Danfodio University in Sokoto, because that was one of the interventions that was done by the Ministry of Power through the REA for providing electricity to tertiary institutions. So for the phase 1 of that project, we have been able to complete 5 of them. We have a total of 9 universities on the phase 1 and 1 teaching hospital, and they are nearly all completed now. And then again, as we saw in the other interventions, the development partners have also stepped in as part of the Nigerian electrification project, and then we're doing a phase 2 under the World Bank, which carries 8 universities, and we're doing another phase 3, which is carrying about 7 universities through the African Development Bank. And then we had an approval initially for 37 universities. We've been able to do 24, and then right now we have another extra 13 that we look to continue to fund through this particular intervention. For agriculture, I think one critical thing that you find is that all the programs we also we try to emphasize on the productive use of the solar energy that we take to those communities. So we don't only look at providing electricity, but we also look at how does that electricity enhance the livelihood of our rural dwellers. And the good thing is that the solar technology is now improving, and we have bigger systems that are able to support, as you mentioned in your reports, micro and small businesses, and be able to support them in that vein where the power that you are taking to them is actually helping them and is actually enhancing their economic status.
Okay, let's look at the sustainability of these projects, going forward.
So with sustainability, because the projects are being delivered through various means of funding, I think the sustainability is mainly for the projects that are currently being financed through government. So even with the universities, as we mentioned earlier, we have gone through a whole sustainability plan now with the universities where they are able to continue operating and maintaining those solar power plants that we have built for them. And in addition to that, with projects that we have delivered on behalf of communities, we usually form a cooperative called Rural Electricity Users Cooperative Society, where each of the projects that we have built, that cooperative society is currently working with the developers and ensuring that the facility continues to be maintained in partnership with the private sector developers. So just recently we were able to sign such agreements with a community in Cross River, where they have continued the maintenance of that mini grid in partnership with the developer. In addition to that, you did mention private sector, and in projects where the private sector is operating, like for the Rural Electrification Fund or for the Nigerian Electrification Project through the performance-based grants, the private sector, because there's an expectation that the community would be paying for that power, remains throughout the life of the project. And with that being said, if the private sector has also made that kind of investment, they would usually ensure that the plan continues to run, because the operation of that plan would depend on the kind of cash inflow that they are having through payment of those tariffs.
Now, a lot of people will be wondering, all these projects, being done at rural areas, are they done for free, or are the benefactors or beneficiaries, are they paying for them?
Yes, so depending on how the project is structured, there are some that are delivered as an intervention by the federal government, for instance. And for that, what we emphasize is to ensure that we have a sustainability plan that would carry out that project. However, with projects that have been delivered through private sector financing, those projects are currently being paid for by the rural communities.
How affordable?
They are affordable in the sense that, the consumption in rural communities, you find that is very, very low because at some of your reports have shown most rural communities within a household would need a light bulb or a fan system. So you find out that their consumption is, few watts of energy. So given that that is the case and they are able to pay so that they also own some of the infrastructure with the solar home systems as well, so you do find that it's quite affordable for them to be able to pay.
Okay, we're talking energy transition here, so let's also go to this very important area. What role would you want to see or expect to see Nigerian youths play in this regard?
The Nigerian youth would play a very, very critical role here, and at the REA we've been able to launch some programs under the Rural Electrification Fund. We recently launched a research and innovation hub where we are inviting the Nigerian youth to come in and help the REA in doing research around understanding technologies to use for rural electrification. So for instance, there's a challenge on understanding how biomass can be used for electrification of rural areas, small hydros, and even the cold chains that you mentioned earlier. These are all things that we are engaging the youth on. And also with the energizing education program that we have, not only did we look at youth, we also looked at female engineers as part of the STEM program, where they participated in the development and construction of those power plants. And I'm happy to mention that after those plants have been built, what we're also finding is that some of these universities are actually employing, the students that participated in that program, and they are currently part of the sustainability of the whole plan. So I think the youth would continue to play that role in terms of at least ensuring that we create the right opportunity for them and the right chances for them to continue to have employment in this sector.
We are not praying for it, but are there challenges?
There's definitely challenges, and I think one of the major challenges continues to be funding. As you have mentioned, the electricity gap is very, very wide. So currently we are working tirelessly to ensure that we have the required data that we need. So I think that is a second challenge to the funding. So we are continuing to identify where these unelectrified Nigerians are. We've been having support from various development partners to help us come up with a mapping, of where all these unelectrified Nigerians are. But however, at the REA and the Ministry of Power, we continue to try and validate, the data that we have. So in essence, if we continue to do that, we are continuing to now match that gap that we are seeing through these exercises to the funding that is coming in both from the federal government, from the private sector, from the international development partners. So we want to continue to demonstrate that there is a need to continue funding this sector so that we are able to bridge the gap of electrification in the country.
Well, most of your projects at the moment are on phase 1, right?
Well, not
so. The question now, on the lips of many people, I guess, will be, when will you be able, to reach out across the rural areas there? Because we have many of them in Nigeria.
Yes, I think it's a Herculean task because, as you mentioned, there are quite a lot of unelectrified Nigerians as we speak. But I think there has been improvements as we continue to work within the sector, especially in improving the power infrastructure that we have, but given the growing population as well, is that even if you continue to cover them through the on-grid infrastructure that is currently being revamped and is currently growing, you find that more populations are propping up in also more unelectrified, more areas where continue to have this off-grid community. So I think for us, our work continues, and this is why, we have a slogan that will continue to power Nigeria one community at a time at the REA.
Finally, from us, Salihijo, most of your inventions and projects may not have the capacity of carrying things like iron and the rest of them, which of course could also be used at the rural areas. How sensitized are the beneficiaries of these projects towards that so that they don't damage these projects?
Yeah, so as part of the sustainability, there's a continuous advocacy for them to understand, so when the project is delivered, through the reuse I mentioned, there's continuous advocacy and sensitization for them to understand the capacity of the plan that they've been delivered and what can the plan take or not. But as I said to you earlier, because right now the technology is also growing, you do find solar home systems, especially that can take on, not ions per se, but more of this productive use appliances like sewing machines, like solar for irrigation. So there are various of those that have the high capacity to be able to be powered by these solar home systems. But in situations where there's a lack of that capacity, the technology does our strength.